Crimson Trace announces Link, the world's first wireless laser and white light system, combining a green laser and 300 lumen light with instinctive activation for AR-type rifles. Link, smart, simple, secure. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
He rode out of Louisiana territory, and with his gun slung low and his microphone held high, he brought truth to a savage land. And the legend grew. Tom Gresham's Gun Talk.
All right, welcome back. I'm Tom Gresham. It is Gun Talk. A lot of things going on, and of course we want your range reports as always. We'll love to get those calls, 866-TALK-GUN. Also, if you're thinking about buying a gun for someone, or maybe even yourself, for Christmas, that holiday season, give us a holler. Let us know what are you buying and why. Again, 866-TALK-GUN. Now, there's been a lot of talk over the years, as we have, 25 maybe good years of experience with concealed carry around the country, and every time in every state, as I watched it go across the country, we get the predictions of, blood in the streets, every fender bender is going to be a shootout, yada, 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 and, then about a year or two later, there's a small story in the paper that says, Sheriff so-and-so says he's been really surprised that there's been really no incidents and no problems here. But a lot of that is anecdotal. We really don't have good studies out there. Well, maybe we do now. Let me bring in here Dr. Mark Hamill, who has done exactly that. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, happy to be here.
All right. So first of all, let's get some background here. Tell them a little bit about your background. You are obviously a medical doctor, a trauma specialist, I gather?
Yes, sir. I'm a trauma surgeon and surgical intensivist, as well as a general surgeon at a level 1 trauma center in southwestern Virginia.
Okay, but you have more than a passing interest in crime because you've actually been a law enforcement officer.
Yes, sir. Before going to medical school, I was a law enforcement officer with the New York City Police Department. And while in medical school, I actually had a job as a part-time police officer for a small town police department in upstate New York. Okay, so like I say, over this past 20, 30 years, we've had state after state adopting some form of concealed carry. We have it in all states in some form, some where it's almost impossible to get. But in a great many states, it's not only possible to get your permit, and some you don't need a permit at all. And some people say, well, it causes crime to go up. Some say it causes crime to go down. I don't know that we had a really good study. You decided to take a look at it. What prompted this? Well, I've had an interest in concealed carry for a long time. Being a law enforcement officer in New York City, where, quite frankly, the gun laws are extremely restrictive, I always looked at the question of how if someone wanted to do someone harm, they could go out and purchase a gun illegally in hours, where to legally purchase a gun could take 6 months, a year, or longer. And I always kind of questioned that, looking at things. I mean, certainly I wasn't in a position to affect policy, but it always seemed a little bit backwards to me. And it's been an interest of mine for a while. And, I got together with some colleagues at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, and we kind of decided to look at this. I developed the data set which looks at concealed carry legislation changes over the last 30 years, and also looked at rates of crime, homicides, both violent and nonviolent crime, over that same period using some Department of Justice data. And we just wanted to look and see if there was an association between increased liberalization of concealed carry laws, making it easier for civilians to carry firearms, and any rates of crime.
Well, what'd you find?
Well, we actually found that overall there was no statistical association between changes in concealed carry legislation and rates in a violent or nonviolent crime, including homicides, including firearms homicides, which goes against some of the rhetoric that comes up, which is, as you said, you see it in state after state. The argument against increasing concealed carry and liberalizing concealed carry legislation is going to be blood in the streets, where in fact there isn't, and that's been shown state over state, kind of empirically. But we've kind of looked at it, and as I said, we didn't find an association.
So it didn't go up, But did it go down?
It did not. And I think that's one of the interesting things you've got to look at is, people would say, okay, so what? So that's an argument against concealed carry because didn't make the crime rates go down. But I think when you look at that, you've got to recognize the crime rates and recognize what they represent. They represent crimes that are reported to police departments across the country. And one of the things that it doesn't account for is it doesn't account for potential defensive uses of firearms, which would prevent the crime from occurring.
And often where the gun's not fired.
Exactly, especially if the gun's not fired. And, I think some of it, the number of defensive uses of firearms is also a hotly debated topic. You have numbers as low as 60 to 70,000 a year, and you have more estimates that consider in the millions. There are estimates up for 2.5 million defensive uses of firearms a year. And I think that's where the key to this study is we can say it doesn't make crime go up. We can say crime doesn't go down, but nothing can ever account, at least using the databases we use, for crime which is not reported to law enforcement or prevented and thus not reported. So,
and that's where the studies on defensive gun use come in. Gary Kleck just put out a paper not too long ago about the CDC's hidden studies where they came up with roughly 2 to 2.5 million times a year people use guns in self-defense almost always without having to fire a gun. And he actually details why the National Crime Victimization Survey is probably very inaccurate because of the way the structure of that. But that's a discussion for another time. But what I'm fascinated by is your study showing that concealed carry does not increase crime, and yet in your world, the AMA takes a very decidedly anti-gun position, and actually a number of the journals in the medical world tend to publish quote-unquote studies that are somewhat to very, very much anti-gun. How has your study been received?
It's actually been received pretty well. I presented the study at the American College of Surgeons Clinical Congress up in Boston recently, and it was received pretty well. It's received some press from the American College of Surgeons. The writer they had doing a little write-up about a lot of things that were dealing with gun violence there actually wrote a nice balanced write-up about it. I think one of the problems with gun studies, there is definitely an anti-gun bias amongst many physicians. Not all, but many. And I think, you look at some of the stuff that's going on now with the NRA, kind of calling out physicians saying, stay in your lane. I'm a member of the NRA. I have been for a long time. I'm a lifetime member. And I look at it and, there is a lot of research being done. But you're absolutely right. A lot of it is very, very, very biased against guns. And some of the researchers acknowledge that they have a tremendous bias against gun ownership, and especially against concealed carry. And that's a problem. And I think if you're going to make rational decisions based, especially public policy decisions based on research that's out there, we have a duty to make sure that research is fair and non-biased. And with a lot of the research that's out there, quite frankly, it has a very, very strong bias, either intentional or unintentional.
It's one of the reasons that the Doctors for Responsible Gun Ownership was formed many years ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm a member. I'm not a tremendously active member, but I am a member of that organization.
I was just telling a doctor friend of mine this week about DRGO, that he ought to take a look at that. Let me, because I'm going to run out of time here, Mark. Let me ask you. I was going to suggest, when people say, well, how can it be that more people carrying guns doesn't result in a higher rate of crime? My answer to them is always, well, it doesn't affect the number of criminals carrying guns because they don't really wait for approval from the government to carry their guns. So that doesn't change. The only thing that changes is that law-abiding people now carry guns, and by definition, they're not criminals. So it's kind of one of those obvious things to us.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, in the paper I had published based on my research, we get into that. There's a fair number of evolving research saying that it's not the people who have guns legally that cause the problems with violence. It's the people that obtain firearms illicitly, and that, through whatever means, through stealing them, through straw purchases, through whatever means. But it's it's a problem, and I think concentrating on the people who legally own guns to solve the problem is not the answer, in my opinion.
Well, congratulations on the study, getting it out there, doing it. I applaud you and thank you very much. It's great to have this information that we can put in front of people.
Yeah, I'm happy to, and I'm hoping we can continue our line of research, moving forward.
Exactly. Well, I appreciate that very much. We will keep working on that. I tell you what, another time I want to get you on here with your background. Let's talk a little bit about what people can do who are people who carry, as far as trauma preparation, whether it's tourniquets or all the rest of it, okay?
Would be absolutely happy to.
All right, we will certainly do that. Mark, thank you so much. I very much appreciate that, and we'll get you on another time.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Thanks a lot.
All right, we'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
The Ruger pistol that started it all is now even better. The Ruger Mark IV has the same great look as the Mark III, but now its simple one-button takedown means less time taking apart your gun and more time shooting it. Disassemble it in seconds for no hassle cleaning. Learn more about the Target, Hunter, and 2245 Light Mark IV series models at Ruger.com. The Ruger Mark IV, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Want your next gun purchase to be fast and hassle-free? Well, at GalleryofGuns.com, you can search through thousands of models from our huge firearms inventory. Find a great offer from a local dealer that includes all fees and taxes. And there's no need to arrange a transfer. Gallery of Guns takes a small deposit on your credit card, and your gun will be at your chosen dealer in as little as 48 hours. Plus, your gun will be covered by our guaranteed lifetime replacement warranty. GalleryofGuns.com. Search, find, buy. It really is just that easy.
Want great deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gundealio app today. With Gundealio, you can search for deals, listen to the Gun Talk podcast, watch gun videos, read gun news, and get notifications right to your phone about deals and special offers. Save money on the products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gundealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
This is Jeff with Black Hills Ammunition. Our Honey Badger line was designed in cooperation with Lehigh Defense. It's a product of my 37 years in law enforcement and 35 years in ammunition manufacturing. This bullet is the future for self-defense. It's what's in my weapon right now. I think that is the ultimate testimonial, when a guy is willing to stake his life on it. For more information, visit the Black Hills Ammunition Facebook page.
Back, no kidding, this is true. I just got a text from the office. Folks at the office said, hey, forgot to put this in your announcements for this week. We've got some discounts at shopguntalk.com. Let me see. I'm reading this as we go. Codes are in the Gundealio app and newsletters, so we put it out there. We just haven't put it out on the radio. Through Tuesday, spend $60 and get 35% off the purchase. The code is 35%. That's 35 PERCENT, no space. 35%, no space. Spend $60 and get 35% off. That's a heck of a deal. You go to shopguntalk.com where we have videos and hats and shirts and all kind of cool stuff over there. So check that out, shopguntalk.com. Let's see here. Line 2, Kim's with us out of Oregon. Kim, thank you for your patience and our ability to get you back in here.
You're welcome, Tom. I just wanted to find out if you're familiar with the Battle of Athens, Tennessee in 1946.
I am.
And have you discussed this before?
Oh, in years past, yeah. I mean, folks that want to know more about it, actually, it's interesting. It does pop up on Wikipedia, and they actually have a pretty good write-up on it there.
They have an excellent write-up on it. So if you Google Battle of Athens, Tennessee, it'll pull it up, and you can read the whole story. It's a fascinating story of how American citizens had to resort to the use of arms to defeat the corruption in their own town after returning from fighting evil in World War II. The GIs had to take up arms and clean up the mess of evil that had developed in their town.
Well, to be specific, you've got these GIs that came back from World War II, and they essentially took up arms against their local government and the police department.
Correct, and they before doing that, they went to the FBI and complained that they felt that there was corruption, and the FBI, since it was an entrenched Democratic Party machine in their town, refused to overlook it, the election. Right, so they wouldn't oversee the whole thing. So these guys, and they tried everything possible. They tried, doing the election right. They tried to, to get the people to get on their side and the public was on their side, but the machine was simply corrupt and would not allow an honest election. So these folks just went in and said, no, we just came back from beating Hitler and from beating Japan, and we're not going to put up with this stuff here. And they took back their own town. Right, but you're right. Before they resorted to the use of arms, they tried every possible way not to do that, and they took and were terribly abused, and some of them were even killed. Yes, exactly. It's a fascinating story. Machine. There was actually a movie made about that, 20-plus years ago. But, it's all in the Wikipedia report, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Just look up the Battle of Athens. That's Athens, Tennessee, not Greece. Great call, Kim. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's something that we need to remember. We are in charge. They work for us. We don't work for them. Line 1, Craig's with us out of Tyler, Texas. Craig, what's happening in Tyler?
Hello, Mr. Gresham.
Howdy.
I have a couple things. First of all, a range report. I just personally got a M&P Shield in 45. Shoots beautifully, but I have graduated into the green laser and light. And that's a new world for me. The doctor said things that were not fun about my eyes as I get older, and I decided to graduate into that. And
I know.
But it's great. I'm actually took a class through a shoot house here locally, and that's a new world for me. But
it really is. The green laser is amazing. It doesn't mean you don't use your sights, but it just means that when the light goes low and sights are harder to see, you have another option, and it's a really good option.
Yeah, absolutely. And my eyes aren't 25 anymore.
I understand.
So, but I like it. I resisted it for a long time, but probably could have come to it earlier.
All right. What else you been shooting?
Well, I also recently picked up a 30-06, not new, 1964. I kind of like old school in that way, I guess. And man, it shoots beautifully as well. What
brand rifle? Winchester, Remington?
No, it was a Remington, just a Remington,
Remington 700.
ADL.
Okay,
an ADL. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they just work. I like the ADL. It has a fixed floor plate. Does not have the swing away floor plate. I like those.
I do too. I actually prefer it, and like I said, it is certainly not new. And it's not the modern sporting rifle, but it does everything I need it to do.
Okay. All right. So you got an idea for Christmas or holiday gifts here. What are we talking about?
Well, actually, we've been talking a lot about donating to the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation. I would like to give you a couple of things some may not know about. Many people shop on Amazon.com, which is not particularly gun-friendly. However, if you go to sign up for something called Amazon Smile, any purchase you can choose the NRA Foundation as a donation site, which I have done, which pleases me to no end. And the other thing that I do, and just a suggestion, I kind of look at purchasing firearms is a tithing situation, if you want to put it in a church sense. Every time I purchase a firearm, I take 10% of the purchase price, and I donate to either the Second Amendment Foundation or the NRA. Just an extra way to do it. So,
excellent. That makes all the sense in the world. And people can do that. They can sign up for the Amazon Smiles program and pick which group they would like to get. And the money's not a lot, but it all adds up. And if there's a million of us or 10 million of us who do that, and actually there'd probably be more people who would do that than actually even belong to the NRA. It's always interesting to me how the NRA has something on the order of 5 million members, and there are supposedly 110 million gun owners out there. Surely we can find another 5 or 10 or 20 million people who will join the NRA. And look, appreciate the call. Thank you, sir. And here's the deal. People go, I've got all kinds of excuses. I don't like them because. You know what? I probably got a longer list than you do. I know, as they say, I know things, and I still support them because there's still the 800-pound gorilla out there. And basically, I support the Second Amendment Foundation and the NRA and state groups. You need to belong to, absolutely need to belong to your state groups because that's where a lot of the battles are now. If we had, and here's the bottom line, if we had 15 or 20 million NRA members, we wouldn't have these fights. We would simply win every single one of them. But right now, they're battling. It takes a lot of money, and we don't have that much money. And these last elections, we got hammered. We got hammered bad. And the incoming Democrats who are going to be leading up the House, they say that for a lot of them, their number one issue is the repression of gun rights. Their number one issue is gun control laws, enacting or reestablishing things that will take away your rights, take away your guns. And now they're kind of open about it. They're just out there. They say, yeah, we actually do want to ban contemporary rifles. Certainly. We've got to get rid of anything that's like designed in the last 50, 75 years. Oh, yeah, and while we're at it, let's make it shotguns and handguns as well. Just flat out all semi-automatics together. Yeah, your duck hunting shotgun, your squirrel rifle, gone. You guys don't really need those, do you? That's what's in store unless we get in gear.
Honey, does this holster make me look fat?
The right answers to the tough questions on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk.
I saw a story earlier this week, watching Fox News, something, and I got to remember, because of what I do, I have to bounce around. I'm watching Fox and CNN and the MSNBC and got to see what everybody's doing. I see this story, I thought, well, that's interesting. And so I chase it down. Every once in a while, a story breaks and somebody does something and they're just surprised by the reaction to it. I think that's the case here. A company in Wisconsin, small company, decides to give all of its employees a gun. And put it on Facebook, and it just takes off, and everybody in the world wants to talk to these guys. It's like this crazy story that breaks. So joining me right now is Ben Wolfe Graham from BenShot out of Wisconsin. Hey, Ben, how are you?
Hey, Tom, we're doing great here. Thank you.
Well, okay, so how did this idea first come about? Well, first of all, how many employees do you have?
Yeah, we have 16 full-time employees here at BenShot.
16 full-time, and it's a glass shop, and you make these very cool deals. The kind of the shot glass, you got a glass with a bullet, an actual bullet embedded in the side of the glass, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you got 16 full-time employees, and you decide you're going to give them guns. And I guess from the story I read, you didn't actually give them guns. You gave them training and a gift certificate so they could pick the one they want. Is that it?
Exactly, yeah, because we have employees of all different sizes and experience levels with guns. So what we did was we had them go to the local gun store that they chose, and they could find a gun that fit their hand and fit their personality and everything.
That's outstanding. You know what I like about that is you were smart enough to not try to make everybody get the same gun, because we all have, as you say, different size hands. We like different things. Mm-hmm. And, with a little training, you're going to say, well, I want a 22, or I wanted this, I wanted that. And then it's like the media machine started running, and you're doing interviews everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah, they got excited, that's for sure. That's for sure.
They got excited, to say the least. So Obviously, you got some kudos. Did you get any negative reaction to this?
Yeah, we got a little bit of both. I mean, we got a lot of support. We got a little bit of kickback, but the support has been overwhelmingly positive. Absolutely.
All right. The obvious question is why?
Yeah, well, the main reason is we want personal protection. We want our employees to be safe. And the other part of that is we also want something that was kind of fun and a good team-building activity, because now we have plans to go to the shooting range together as a group, and so it's kind of a combination of those two things. Okay, so what's your background that led you to do this? I mean, this just doesn't come out of thin air of somebody who's not really a shooter.
Yeah, I mean, we're from Wisconsin, so it's right in our blood. So we've been hunting since about age 12, yeah.
I get it. Now, I have a note here that says you've got somebody else you'd like to have on the air here. Who else do we have?
Oh, we have Chelsea here, the marketing manager from BenShot. She's in the room with me here this weekend. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Can we talk to Chelsea for a sec?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, good deal. Yeah, I mean, great company. Hey,
Tom,
Chelsea.
how are you?
I am great. Oh, do this, since you're the marketing person. Ben's the guy that, he owns the whole thing. But tell us, all right, when you get a chance to tell somebody, what is BenShot?
Yeah, so BenShot, I guess if I could kind of make it really simple, just as a team, we're just a bunch of American workers, working for a small business. We're going to stand up for what we believe in. I think that's exactly what we've kind of proved to everyone by just sharing our story.
Well, exactly. So what kind of stuff, I mean, obviously I've seen the picture of the shot, I'm calling it a shot glass. It's a glass with a bullet in the side of it. What else do you guys make?
Yeah, so we have glasses from shot glasses all the way up to a 24-ounce massive beer mug. And in each of our glasses, we have the signature bullet in it, and we can do different calibers of bullets from 308s up to like 50 cals. We have people who will send in their own bullets, and we'll make custom glasses for them. Oh, right. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I'm looking you up here. It's BenShot, BenShot.com, handmade in the USA. Very cool stuff. I'm a pilot, so I get into Oshkosh occasionally. I don't know how far you guys are from there. Yeah, we're not too far. You got to stop in. We'll give you a tour.
Oh, that would be cool. All right, so as the marketing manager, the phone starts ringing from media all over the place. How surprised are you from this?
Yeah, so I'm not that surprised. We knew when we wanted to share our story and kind of put it out there for everyone that it would catch some traction. I don't know if we expected it to be national, and then we also got a little bit of international coverage on the story. Mm-hmm. But we knew we would get some negative feedback. But as Ben said, the overall positive feedback from people who had never even heard about BenShot but now are ordering and communicating with us has been amazing.
Well, it's a good time. It's a cool gift. It would be a cool gift for people right now. I see, I like this. You've got some with the bullet in it and with the American flag on it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we do custom laser etching. We have a team that does all custom designs. So we could do any type of logos. We have our own custom designs that are on our website. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's a gift that's, one, unique, and two, you can customize exactly to the person who you want it to go to.
Did you have any of the employees who said, no, I really don't want this?
So we had two employees. There are two female employees who were a little iffy about the gift. And, that's fine. They're not anti-gun or anything. One of them said her husband has enough guns, so they didn't need another one. And then the other employee said it just didn't really fit her lifestyle, and she didn't think that she would use it enough to need it. But they participated in the safety course that we had from MK Protection Strategies, and now they're getting more interested in firearms and kind of what it means to have one after taking the safety course and kind of seeing all of us with our firearms.
That's a lot of times what happens. They go, I don't really want to, that's not my thing. And then you get some training and you get a little safety information. You're going, oh, okay, that's not actually what I thought it was. This is kind of fun.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So now, I have them come in, they're asking different people, different questions about their guns. So it's pretty cool. So they're considering it now. So we'll kind of see what happens with that.
That is terrific. Chelsea, thank you so much. Please thank Ben for us, BenShot.com. Cool company doing some interesting things, and a gift of a gun for the Christmas bonus here. I love it. You guys are to be congratulated. Well done.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, you take care. 866-TALK-GUN or just dial me at Tom Talk Gun. What's your take on that? Would you buy this just to say, hey, that's kind of cool? What do you think of that? And I love the idea of just a gift certificate for a gun for every employee. That's cool. 866-TALK-GUN.
When the U.S. military's elite units and law enforcement agencies across the globe demanded innovation and reliability, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. When world champion professional shooters demanded precision accuracy, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. So it's no surprise more and more civilian gun owners are refusing to settle for anything less. They're choosing Sig Sauer firearms, ammunition, electro-optics, suppressors, air guns, and training. Sig Sauer. Never settle.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org. Used guns can be a great value, but you have to know who you're buying from. What if you could buy quality used guns with a lifetime warranty from the Internet's largest online reseller? That's what you get at Dewey'sGuns.com. They stand behind every firearm purchase for life. If you have a problem, they'll either fix or replace your gun. Pistols, rifles, shotguns, and more. Check out their inventory today at Dewey'sGuns.com. All right, so what can we do? We've got the Democratic control of the House, and they're going to push some gun control stuff. Well, we'll talk about that in just a second. Got some ideas, some help from a friend of mine. But first, Mike's with us on line 3 out of Anchorage, Alaska, with a question. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Tom. It's a pleasure to be on. Listen, I'm unfortunately going to have to be moving out of Alaska soon. Mm-hmm. I've got a lot of reloading supplies. If I'm remembering correctly, and I hope I'm not, but during the Bill Clinton years, did they make some laws regarding how much gunpowder, how many primers a private citizen can own?
I think not on the federal level, but there are 2 issues you're going to run into. First one is, and I have to ask questions, what state are you moving to?
Montana.
Probably not going to be a problem there, but just understand that every state, I think, has regulations about ammunition storage, and that comes from the fire marshal, of all things.
Sure.
So there's an issue there, and it may be, like I'm looking at Massachusetts, which, of course, is not Montana, but no more than 10,000 rounds of rimfire ammunition, no more than 10,000 rounds of centerfire, which some people are going to say, well, who would ever have that much? And I'm thinking, well, that's just like a good week's worth of shooting to me. So the other issue, and maybe the more important issue, is this. How are you going to move them?
Well, obviously, the only way I can get out of here is go down the ferry to Seattle. I obviously have too many guns to go through Canada. Plus, I've got a ton of handguns. So,
and you also can't use professional movers because they're not going to handle your ammunition.
Ah, okay. Well, I hadn't planned on it anyway, but that's an interesting...
Well, having moved, when I moved to Alaska and then when I moved from Alaska, these were issues that I had to deal with. Is, okay, how many guns do I have? They're in the back of a U-Haul trailer. How much ammunition do I have? I got lucky; nobody looked, and but I would not. That was many years ago. I would not try that today with the border security and everything the way it is. So the deal there is going to be, if you're taking the ferry, you can, out of Ketchikan or wherever you grab it, you got to get it all the way to Seattle, not Prince Rupert, not Vancouver. You don't want to get off in Canada. You got to get down to the U.S.
Exactly.
So there you go. Here's another. Give me a rough idea. Do you have any idea how much ammo you have?
Well, right this minute it's not loaded. I got tons of empty cases. Maybe I should get busy loading it. I've got in excess of 400 pounds of gunpowder.
Okay. I'm going to make a suggestion. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to make a suggestion. Sell it there and buy it when you get to Montana.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving 400 pounds of, and people say gunpowder is explosive. No, it's not, unless it's black powder. If it's smokeless powder, it's a propellant. But at a certain point, that becomes an issue. And I'm just going to tell you, you want to research this a bit more. For one thing, the ferry probably prohibits it. Yeah, and I know what they don't know and all that. I would be sorely tempted. A lot of this you probably had for a while, too.
Yes.
It's worth a whole lot more now than what you paid for it then.
True.
I would be really tempted to sell it, maybe even in bulk, and then turn around and buy, because the fact is, whatever, if you got 400 pounds, you haven't been loaded at all, you probably, for realistically, what you're going to actually shoot and need is probably a third or quarter of that. You could sell it all, make some money, replace what you actually are going to use for reloading, and then not have to sweat the transport. Because that would cause me real concern, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, just some thoughts, some options for you.
Fresh powder that's sealed in those plastic containers could have. The dogs, they couldn't smell that, could they?
They can smell anything. They can smell absolutely anything. Oh, yeah.
Even in open? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It wouldn't be. They could smell that from 100 yards away. Yeah, don't. I'm just telling you, if it's me, I don't want to get sideways with Customs, Border Patrol, or anybody else. It's not worth it. I would sell that stuff, then I would go to Montana and buy powder. That's just me. But I'll tell you what, we're going to ask for some other advice. There are going to be some people out here who know, another way to go. And we'll see if we can get them in here. So we'll see if we can get some help. Look, I appreciate the call. I wish you luck with the move, all right? Thank you, sir. Wow. Yeah, you could ship it. Yeah, you could ship it ahead. But, man, carrying 400 pounds of powder, not that I haven't carried a lot of ammo. And I think the statute of limitations is way out on that one. Man, we had a U-Haul trailer a truck actually full of stuff. And buried somewhere down in there was a lot of ammo and a lot of guns. And nobody took it all out of the truck. So there you go. But as I say, that's also 3 decades ago. Different time. We're post 9/11, all the rest of it. Different security measures. I absolutely would not try to do that now. Let's see. Tell you what, when we come back, I want to share with you, Dean Weingarten wrote this interesting piece of, okay, what can we do in this lame duck session? Maybe there are a couple of things that we could get passed and get signed by the president, maybe, because we know we're not going to get anything done on a pro-gun basis coming out of the House for the next 2 years, and we're going to be fighting a defensive battle. And yeah, when they say, if they can't legislate, they're going to investigate, yeah, I think we could probably expect them to be calling people from the firearms industry to testify. It's going to get seriously ugly. 866-TALK-GUN. All right, so we know the Democrats are going to be taking over the House. They'll be running things. Nothing that we want is going to go through. A lot of things we don't want, where they're going to attempt in the way of gun control. But we have a lame duck session here. And so writing in Ammo Land, Dean Weingarten, who does a really good job. He says, here's two things that could be done that President Trump could do, and they're both very good. First of all, a lot of the federal gun-free zones are based on an interpretation of a law, 18 U.S. Code 930. And there's a part of that that says one of the exemptions, basically guns are prohibited in a lot of these federal facilities, like post offices, okay? But one of the exemptions is the lawful carrying of firearms or other dangerous weapons in a federal facility would be okay incident to hunting or other lawful purposes. Dean suggests the new U.S. Attorney General could issue an opinion that self-defense is a lawful purpose for the carrying of firearms under subsection 3. Say it's hardly a controversial opinion. All 50 states and the District of Columbia issue permits specifically for people to carry firearms for that purpose of self-defense. That's a great idea. The other one, and I think this is really worthwhile and long overdue, to have the Secretary of the Treasury issue an amnesty for the registration of items requiring a tax stamp under the National Firearms Act. Here's the deal. When GCA 68, the Gun Control Act of 1968, was passed, Congress also passed a bill to allow an amnesty for people who had possessed unregistered NFA items. No fingerprints or tax was required. It was a 30-day amnesty in 1968. There are tens of thousands of war surplus firearms that have been brought back from World War II, even World War I, that have been in families. And people say, yeah, I've got this old gun that my granddaddy had. And I go, oh, man, do you have any papers on that? No, we never had any papers on it. Well, it's illegal now. It's illegal to have that machine gun now, but your granddaddy brought it back. We need an amnesty period so people can own these things lawfully. They're not hurting anybody with them. But the problem is right now it's a felony to have them, and the only way to get rid of them is to destroy them. And there's a lot of value. And I mean, a lot of these things are worth $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on the market if they could transfer them. So that would be two things that the president could do. Get the Attorney General to issue an opinion on the federal gun-free zones that carrying a gun for self-defense is a lawful purpose. In other words, you would be okay carrying there. Of course, all it's doing is saying, look, bad guys are going to be bad, and only the good guys are going to obey the laws in the first place. So what the heck are we doing with this thing anyway? And the other is an amnesty period for NFA items. I think that is a brilliant move. I think it's long overdue, and I think it's something we could do. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, if you're on hold, I don't have time to get to you right now. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have to get back to you after the break, all right? We're also, when we come back, we're going to be talking about some new guns, some cool stuff that's out there. I got to go out and do a little sporting clay shooting yesterday. Speaking of new guns, I used an old gun, a gun that my dad got. He was on the team that was the top gun at the Grand National Quail Shoot some 40 years ago. It's a 28 gauge Remington 1100. Just delightful. A semi-auto, gas-operated semi-auto 28 gauge. There's no recoil. It's weird. When it goes off, it's like nothing happened. You can still break clays with it, and you can still bring down birds with a 28 gauge. But it was just so much fun. It also reminded me of how the 1100 is such a great pointing shotgun. It really is. Now, it didn't fit me for the left-handedness, but that's my own issue. I have to work with that. And that's my excuse. The reason I didn't break all those targets, well, it's because it didn't fit me, right? It wasn't because I wasn't shooting well. That could possibly have been the reason. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about some new guns that are out there, things that you want to know about. And you can join us, 866-TALK-GUN.